Hello from Daily Moral Story, and welcome to today's moral story. The sun was setting over the busy city streets, painting everything in pale gold. People bustled by with tired faces or excited chatter, eager to reach home or meet friends. One man stepped from a black car and slipped onto a dimly lit sidewalk. He wore simple sneakers, jeans, and a worn jacket. Nothing special, yet he was someone important. His name was Nathan Brooks, CEO of Meadow's Delight, a flourishing restaurant chain famed for its down-home comfort food and welcoming vibe. Though a sharp entrepreneur, Nathan never forgot his humble background. Raised by a single mother in a cramped apartment, he knew the sting of poverty. Today, his restaurants dotted the city, but he rarely stayed behind a desk counting profits. Instead, he often slipped into branches incognito to feel the real pulse of his business. Tonight he visited a location in a struggling neighborhood. The outside had a faded sign above the door, yet inside the aroma of freshly baked bread filled the air. A soft chatter drifted through the room, families enjoying dinner, seniors taking their time over hot tea, a few college kids laughing by the window. The staff, wearing burgundy uniforms, hurried between tables with friendly smiles. This was precisely what Nathan had envisioned, a cozy retreat for anyone who walked in. He joined the line at the counter. Looking around, he felt gratitude for how far Meadow's Delight had come. In his youth, a place like this would have seemed a dream. Keeping his head low, he watched the staff greet each guest with kindness. A swirling warmth spread in his chest. He recalled a time he'd wanted to buy a simple meal but lacked the funds. That memory never left him. The line inched forward, and Nathan heard hushed voices behind him. Two boys whispered about whether they had enough change for a sandwich. He stole a glance. The taller boy, maybe 14, clutched a handful of coins. The younger, around 10, wore a worn coat too large for his frame. Both looked hungry and uneasy. The older boy, named Marcus, said, "I think we can get at least a grilled cheese." The younger, Eli, shrugged uncertainly, eyes flicking around as if hoping no one noticed them. Nathan's heart clenched, recalling himself at that age, scrounging for enough money to buy even a snack. He faced forward, pretending not to eavesdrop, yet their conversation tugged at him. He stepped to the register, a warm smile from the cashier greeting him. He ordered a tomato soup and a grilled cheese for himself, then paused, listening. Marcus and Eli placed their coins on the counter and asked for 1 grilled cheese and 2 cups of water. The cashier, Monica, gently explained their funds fell short. Marcus glanced at Eli. Both looked defeated. Before the boys could walk away, Nathan interceded. He quietly asked Monica to add 2 full meals to his order, instructing her to give the boys anything they wanted. At first they stared, stunned. Marcus mumbled, "Sir, it's okay. We don't want to bother you." Nathan shook his head softly. "You're no bother. Everyone deserves a good meal tonight." Eli's eyes glimmered as though he'd just witnessed a small miracle. They accepted the meals and thanked him in hushed voices. Nathan carried his own tray to a table near them, trying not to intrude but wanting to keep them in sight. He sipped his soup, watching the boys devour their food. When they were nearly done, he approached, speaking gently. "Mind if I sit?" Marcus nodded, still wary. "I'm Nathan," he said. "Everything okay now?" Eli nodded eagerly, swallowing his last bite. "It's so good. We haven't had anything hot all day." Marcus kept his gaze lowered, but murmured his own thanks. Nathan asked where they lived, and Marcus explained they were just a few blocks away with their mom, Adriana. She used to work at a factory, but after it closed, they'd struggled. Their father had passed away 2 years prior. Nathan felt a pang of empathy. "I'm sorry," he said, voice low. "Is your mom able to find work?" Marcus shook his head. "She cleans houses sometimes, but it's not steady." Eli's small hand trembled around his cup. Nathan reached into his wallet, pulling out a special VIP pass normally reserved for valuable partners or long-time staff. He offered it to Marcus. "Whenever you need a meal, show this at the counter, no charge, and if your mom needs a job, let me know." The boys looked stunned. "Why are you doing this?" Marcus whispered. Nathan recalled a stranger's kindness to him long ago. "Someone helped me once," he said, "and I never forgot." The boys thanked him, voices thick with relief. They left, each step seeming lighter than before. Nathan stayed behind, lost in thought. Memories of his own hardships crashed over him. He knew one free meal wouldn't solve their problems, but it was a start. When he returned home, sleep didn't come easily. He kept picturing Marcus and Eli, wondering how many others like them were walking the streets tonight. Early the next morning, he called Lisa, his dedicated assistant. He wanted a meeting with his key managers from all Meadow's Delight locations. He also asked Lisa to find out more about that neighborhood's unemployment rates, local charities, and potential partners. The meeting took place in a small conference room at Meadow's Delight's main office. Nathan told them about the boys, explaining how it triggered memories of his own struggles. The managers listened in rapt attention. Monica, the cashier who'd interacted with Marcus and Eli, attended via video call, recounting the moment the boys realized they couldn't afford a meal. Nathan sighed. "I've been thinking about how we can help more people. We already serve affordable meals, but maybe we can do better." He introduced a concept he called Operation Warm Hearts, a plan to serve free meals to those in dire need and provide flexible job opportunities for parents struggling to find steady work. Many managers worried about costs and logistics, but Nathan reminded them of the restaurant's founding principles: kindness, community, comfort. "If we stand by those values," he insisted, "we'll find a way." Within days, they'd set a date for a community open house at the outskirt location. Meals would be free, representatives from local charities and social workers would attend, ready to guide anyone needing long-term help. Lisa also arranged job interviews that day for parents who'd been laid off, hoping to fill open positions. Word spread quickly, and both curiosity and skepticism grew. Some believed it was a PR stunt, others were excited at the prospect of a free meal and real assistance. Nathan visited Adriana, Marcus, and Eli's mother, inviting her for an interview. She arrived at the restaurant with a neatly pressed blouse and nervous eyes. Overcoming her initial shyness, she described her past factory work, her ability to manage inventory, her attention to detail. Nathan offered her a position overseeing supplies for that Meadow's Delight, complete with flexible hours so she could care for her sons. Adriana teared up, thanking him repeatedly. Her voice shook with gratitude. Nathan simply replied, "Let's see where this takes us." The open house day arrived. Staff showed up early, setting up colorful balloons outside and bright signs reading, "Everyone is welcome, meals today are free." Inside, tables held brochures about local shelters, food banks, and job training programs. The aroma of roast chicken, warm bread, and homemade apple pie created an inviting backdrop. Families, elderly couples, and job seekers trickled in. Some looked hopeful, others wary. But as soon as they saw how serious the event was, they smiled, relaxing into the atmosphere of acceptance. Nathan greeted guests personally, wearing a simple Meadow's Delight t-shirt and jeans. He spotted Marcus and Eli by the entrance, holding Adriana's hands. Adriana looked more confident than before. She had a new job that might actually pay enough to keep food on the table. Marcus nodded shyly at Nathan. Eli beamed like he'd met a hero in a storybook. The crowd grew, and soon people were lining up for free meals. Hearty portions of chicken pot pie, mashed potatoes, and garden salads. Monica called out cheerful hellos from behind the counter. Local reporters arrived, capturing footage of the event. One approached Nathan with a camera rolling. He asked why a for-profit chain would give away free food and offer jobs to unemployed parents. Nathan replied with a calm smile. "This community helped Meadow's Delight grow. It's only right we give something back. And if we can create real opportunities for families, that's even better." That evening, after the last guests left, Nathan thanked his staff. They had served hundreds of free meals and conducted multiple on-the-spot job interviews. Smiling, Nathan declared, "Operation Warm Hearts starts now. Let's keep it going." The staff cheered, emotional but proud. They saw the difference a single afternoon had made for so many. Over the next few weeks, families kept coming. Some were in dire need of dinner, others just looking for a friendly face. Nathan instructed each branch to set aside a certain number of free meals per week and remain open to flexible hiring. Local charities partnered with Meadow's Delight, grateful for the synergy. Attendance at the restaurants grew, not just from hungry families but from patrons who admired the cause. Instead of shrinking profits, the chain saw customer loyalty rise. Adriana blossomed in her new role. She balanced supply orders meticulously, training with the store manager on inventory software. Having stable hours allowed her to spend more evenings with Marcus and Eli. The boys often stopped by after school, using the VIP pass to grab a snack. They no longer felt uneasy about being in the restaurant. Staff welcomed them like family. A short newspaper article appeared under the headline, "Undercover CEO with a Big Heart." It described how Nathan had met two hungry boys and decided to act, launching an entire program for the greater community. The piece praised Meadow's delight for embodying a kinder side of corporate America. Nathan, reading it, felt a mix of pride and humility. The spotlight had never been his goal. He wanted real change, not accolades. There were skeptics. A competing chain's manager warned him that too much charity could hurt the bottom line. Nathan answered by showing him how the new initiative actually attracted more paying customers, drawn to a business that put people first. No, it wasn't charity in the old sense. It was an investment in human potential. Yes, there were costs, but the loyalty and goodwill gained surpassed them. The competitor remained doubtful, yet a small spark of reconsideration flickered in his eyes. Months passed and Operation Warm Hearts continued to expand. Some employees, once struggling themselves, now mentored new hires from similar backgrounds. Marcus and Eli told their school friends about Meadow's delight, how it offered job help for parents. Adriana began saving for a small apartment in a safer area. Word spread that the restaurant chain was doing more than dishing out food. It was dishing out second chances. Local community leaders praised Nathan at gatherings, sometimes inviting him to speak about compassionate business models. He politely attended a few events, but always shared the spotlight with his staff, insisting their hard work and empathy made it all possible. He repeated a line he'd grown fond of. "We can't fix every problem, but we can make a dent in hunger and unemployment right here. That's enough to begin." One morning, Adriana walked in to show Nathan a drawing Eli had made. It depicted Nathan as a figure giving out sandwiches to a crowd with the words "Thank you, Mr. Nathan" scrawled in bright crayons. Nathan felt tears prick the corners of his eyes. He pinched the edge of the paper lightly. "You tell Eli this is going on my office wall," he said, voice thick with emotion. That simple gesture reminded him of why he kept pushing forward with Operation Warm Hearts. Not everything was perfect. Some local officials questioned the scope of the free meals, concerned about budgets or economic strain. Nathan explained it was fully funded by Meadow's Delight's community support and a portion of profits allocated for charity. He assured them there was no burden on city resources. Gradually, skeptics quieted. Time rolled on. A year after Nathan first met Marcus and Eli, the restaurant held an anniversary event. The place was decorated with bright lights, the smell of warm cinnamon rolls drifting through the door. People came in droves, many of them recalling how they'd found help right here. A makeshift stage stood in a corner, near booths occupied by families chatting over plates of roasted vegetables and pot roast. Nathan climbed the stage, wearing a simple apron. He thanked everyone for coming, voice reflecting quiet gratitude. "We started Operation Warm Hearts to make sure no kid counted pennies for dinner. We discovered we could do much more. Today we're celebrating families who found jobs, children discovering passions, neighbors helping neighbors. That's what real community looks like." As applause swept through the room, Nathan spotted Marcus, now taller and more self-assured. Eli waved from a seat in the front, beaming. Adriana stood behind them, eyes full of pride. The staff gathered, some teary-eyed, remembering how it had all begun, two boys desperate for a simple sandwich. Nathan felt a lump in his throat, recalling how one small act of kindness could spark widespread change. After the event, a local reporter snapped photos. Nathan avoided the camera's focus, urging the reporter to photograph the families and staff instead. He believed the story should be about people uniting around hope. Word of mouth continued to drive more visitors. Some arrived seeking help, others offering donations or volunteer hours. It seemed like every passing month brought a new wave of good deeds. Marcus, with confidence gleaned from a more stable life, joined a community basketball league. His team practiced near the restaurant, often dropping by after games. Eli picked up music lessons, determined to learn guitar. Adriana moved them into a modest two-bedroom apartment just blocks from the restaurant, paying rent on time for the first stretch in years. The transformation was real. A few naysayers still claimed Nathan's compassion was a marketing scheme. He brushed off the accusations, focusing on results. For every doubter, there were 10 individuals whose lives improved. Eventually, those positive outcomes overshadowed any negativity. Meadow's Delight thrived, earning a reputation for feeding the community's spirit as well as their stomachs. One evening, after a busy shift, Nathan found himself in the manager's office of the original branch. The lights outside had dimmed, and he could hear the clatter of dishes being washed in the kitchen. He leaned back in a simple chair, sipping tea, reflecting on the journey. He recalled the shy, hungry look on Marcus's face that first night. Now, Marcus was bright-eyed and hopeful. Eli had blossomed too, and Adriana was an integral part of the Meadow's Delight family. He remembered a quote his mother had shared. A single act of kindness throws out roots in all directions, and the roots spring up and make new trees. That was precisely what he'd witnessed, a ripple of goodness that spread far beyond one meal. Every day, more people stepped forward to help each other, forging connections that went beyond restaurant walls. Nathan felt certain the heart of this city was opening in ways he'd only dreamed of. Months later, Operation Warm Hearts saw more success stories. Parents who'd once been jobless now managing tasks in the kitchens, older teens learning cooking skills, and volunteers teaching free classes on budgeting or resume building. The entire enterprise radiated a sense of unity. Local businesses donated supplies, churches held small fundraisers, and city officials began praising Meadow's Delight as a model for socially responsible entrepreneurship. Then came the second annual celebration of Operation Warm Hearts. The original location was decked out in soft lights and fresh flowers. A small stage was assembled outside where employees performed short skits or read heartfelt testimonies. Marcus, now on the school basketball team, performed a quick demonstration of his dribbling skills in the parking lot. Eli showed off a basic guitar melody he'd learned. Adriana stood by, tears in her eyes, applauding every note. Nathan watched them proudly, remembering how different their lives had been when they could barely scrape together enough coins for one sandwich. Near the end of the evening, Nathan addressed the crowd. People gathered around him, some standing, others sitting at picnic tables. He recounted how a random act of generosity had led to a broad initiative. "I once believed providing good food at fair prices was enough, but this experience has taught me that real success means lifting each other up. Compassion isn't a side project, it's the very heart of what we do." He thanked the staff for embracing his vision. He thanked patrons for supporting the cause. He offered a special thanks to Marcus and Eli for reminding him why Meadow's Delight existed in the first place. The crowd erupted in applause, many wiping at their eyes. Reporters again documented the scene, snapping pictures of families hugging, children dancing, staff members beaming. Later that night, when the celebration ended, Nathan found a quiet corner to breathe, reflecting on how far things had come in 2 years. He felt enormous gratitude. He also felt a gentle push to keep extending Operation Warm Hearts to other struggling neighborhoods, to keep forging relationships that went beyond money. He believed others might replicate Meadow's Delight's approach, transforming businesses into platforms for lasting change. Now, let's draw together the lessons from this journey. First, kindness holds transformative power. A single act, buying dinner for 2 hungry boys, ignited a chain reaction that benefited an entire community. That aligns with the old saying, "A candle loses nothing by lighting another candle." We all hold the power to light someone else's path. Second, real change demands more than a one-time gesture. Nathan didn't stop at free sandwiches. He provided jobs, stability, and a sense of dignity. Giving immediate help solves a moment's crisis. Offering opportunities changes lives. It mirrors the timeless principle: give a man a fish, he eats for a day. Teach him to fish, he eats for a lifetime. Third, we see that compassion can coexist with business success. Meadow's Delight grew not in spite of generosity, but partly because of it. People resonate with authenticity. By caring for the community, Nathan built a loyal customer base. This story underscores how morality and profitability need not be opposites. Finally, each of us can be that spark for someone else. You don't have to be a CEO to do it. Maybe a neighbor could use a helping hand, or a local youth needs a mentor. Small acts of care can ripple out in ways we can't predict. If you felt moved by what happened to Marcus and Eli, consider looking around your own life. Who might need a little support right now? If you found this story inspiring, please share it with friends, family, or co-workers. Let them see how one evening changed everything for two hungry boys and sparked a movement. Reflect on your own experiences. Maybe you have a story of receiving a kindness you never forgot. If so, pay it forward in your unique way. As we grow older, we often rediscover how much power a thoughtful gesture can hold. Life has its ups and downs, but a compassionate approach can make those down times more bearable for everyone. Thank you for watching, and remember, hope thrives where empathy lives. Next time you spot someone struggling, consider taking a step toward them instead of walking away. You never know. You might be the reason they find the encouragement to push on. And if you're ever in a Meadow's Delight, take a moment to appreciate how a simple sandwich can represent much more than a meal. It can stand for unity, love, and the firm belief that no one should face hardship alone. This story, whether real or fictional, we hope that somewhere out there people truly encounter narratives like this. Stories spark hope. That's our tagline on this channel, because we believe in sharing tales that uplift hearts and awaken possibility. May you take something from this story to use in your own life. Perhaps an extra measure of understanding for someone in need, or the courage to stand up for genuine kindness. So now, we invite you to share your thoughts or experiences, because your voice can keep this flame of empathy burning bright.